if you want to get a gauge for how alive the young talent and the scene is right now in Ontario, look no further than the Sunset Speedway Superstock Rookie of the Year chase. I mean, it might be the best rookie class the Superstock division of Sunset has ever had. From Jordan House to Stefan Semeraro to Miles Tyson, Kendra Adams, I believe Justin Holmes as well. I'm sure I'm forgetting a couple of names. There's so many freshmen that are getting ready to come out for their first year in a Superstock, one of which I got on the line right now, none other than the Astronaut Brandon McFerran, former Sunset Speedway Mini Stock track champion, former Velocity 250 winner. Astronaut, what's it like with a brand new race car in the shop at the house right now?
Feels pretty good. Like we were talking about before we started this interview, this last month or so has been really, really crazy. 4 or 5 guys out in the shop every day, on the weekends from sun up till sundown. I got a lot of good guys on my side right now. I got Bev Thring, Steve Laking, my dad, Bob Coyne. So many guys have offered to help out. We kind of got late start at it because Bev Thring built another car for a guy, so kind of put us on the back burner. So about a month or so ago now, we started building the car, and now it's basically a roller. We're starting to hang the body on it, so it's looking pretty good. I'm really excited to get it out and get a fresh wrap on it. I think it's going to look really good.
I mean, anytime you build a race car from the ground up, I mean, literally from a bunch of steel from the ground up, it's an enormous undertaking. Has it kind of blown you away a little bit how much work has needed to go into this car to get it ready for 2016? Absolutely.
I mean, when we built the mini stock, you basically already have a shell to go off of. You just kind of got to build around the thing. So, saying that, building a super stock now, it has really blown me away because I've never been really around a scene building a real race car like that. So it's kind of cool to see all the work that goes into it and being a part of that. You learn so much building a new race car. I can't believe the knowledge that I've been taking in it. Like I said, this last month or so, about building a race car and how much work goes into it, and just the little things make a world of difference. And it's just, like I said, really cool. I wasn't really sure on how much work there was going to be to it, but like you said, it's everything you got to build by yourself. And Bev and Steve Laking have done a phenomenal job so far, and I think I know the car is going to be one of the most beautiful cars out there.
And when you think of two craftsmen like Steve Laking and Bev Thring, I mean, that the car, not only is it going to look phenomenal, because I'm sure the attention to detail with those two working side by side is through the roof, but it's going to work. I mean, anything Steve Laking has ever put his hands on, it's looked gorgeous, it's performed well, and Bev Thring, I mean, his work speaks for itself, considering that Matt Bentley-built car came out of the Bev Thring race shop, and it was the best super stock in the province for the last month and a half, 2 months of the 2015 season. So it's interesting to see how this is going to work out when you put Steve Laking and Bev Thring side by side.
Absolutely. It's honestly, it's so cool. I look up to Steve. I always have since I started. He's been a big part of it. And, same with Bev. One of those two guys have been in my corner since day one, really, since I got in a mini stock. And it's really cool now having those two guys building the car I'm going to be racing for the next few years or more. And, like you said about, a gorgeous looking race, I can't believe the small, fine details that have gone as good as it does right now. You don't want craftsmanship that has gone into it. It makes you, what's the word I'm looking for? It makes you appreciate your work and what you're racing, and makes you glad that what you're bringing out to the track, unloading that thing every week, and everyone's going to be looking at it like that's a really nice race car being built. And same with my mini stock. When that was built, everyone came up, and it's just it was kind of a turning point for the mini stocks when that was built, because everyone kind of started going off that and whatnot, and and still was like even last year, people kept coming up and looking at the car and getting new ideas. But like I said, it's just the race car is just beautiful, and those two guys in my corner, I can't be any more happy to be working with them and learning what I'm learning.
Now, you mentioned getting a late start and that the car is really just a roller now. Were you guys thinking of a partial season in 2016, just kind of get your feet wet and then come out both guns loaded for 2017? Or can you shed a little bit of light on what your strategy is as far as your schedule goes this year?
Right now, I mean, making opening night is going to be, really close. Like the final touches will be going on at the Friday night before the event. That's how close it's going to be. And, with money's tight. Like, now it's just basically buying all the nickel and dime stuff, and that stuff adds up in a hurry. So, as long as, others keep working with us, and they've all been great so far, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do for us and later on in the season. And but right now, I don't know if we're going to make opening night, so that might lead up to a partial schedule. So hopefully not. I'd like to run the full deal, but I'd like to say maybe run a partial schedule this year and kind of save up for next year, and then come out guns blazing and go from there and see how we do. But like I said, it'd be cool to run the full year this year, but money's going to be tight, so we'll see what happens.
Now, how many races can you run without burning your rookie eligibility for 2017? This is an answer that I probably should know, but I don't. How many races are you able to run to still run for Rookie of the Year next season?
I think if I would have run 3 races, I think that would have put me out of the Rookie of the Year hunt, I think. But I only ran 2, so I'm still able to run for Rookie of the Year.
Okay, so tell me about this rookie class. I mean, because Mark Dilley called it the best freshman class the Superstock division has ever seen, and I don't think that's hyperbole. I don't think that's bullshit at all. I think he's bang on. I mean, I think he's dead set perfect. How many young drivers are moving up this year? It's pretty incredible. Obviously, a guy like yourself being a former Mini Stock champion, Jordan House being a former Velocity 250 winner, you guys are sort of at the head of the pack. But I mean, Stefan Samarero has come up under Stompton Tom Walters. Miles Tyson looked really good in his select appearances last year. It's incredible how much good young talent is moving into the Superstock division this year.
Absolutely. It's pretty wild. It's blown me away. It kind of took me by surprise. Like even when we started this phone call, you said something about Justin Holmes moving up. I had no idea about that, so that's pretty cool. Always like racing against him. He's a fun guy to race with. But, like Mark said to you, the Rookie of the Year battle is going to be maybe one of the best that Sunset's ever going to see and has ever seen. So, like you got Trayton Lastovich. I don't know what his plans are, if he's going to run the full year. I
can't believe I forgot Trayton. You're absolutely right. How did I forget Trayton Lastovich? This is how long the list is of good young kids that are moving in. You're absolutely, Trayton Lastovich, who has plans of running full-time as well. So you figure it's going to be a 7-8 car battle every night just to win Rookie of the Race on a week-to-week basis.
Absolutely. Like, honestly, you have Trayton, which he won the championship in the Mighty Division last year. Like you said, you got Jordan, Stefan, Miles Tyson, Kendra. Like I said, it's going to be unreal. It's a deep field, and I'm looking really forward to seeing where it's going to lead up to, and who's going to come out on top at the end of the year, because I really couldn't point a finger at anyone right now, and I'm not going to make any predictions, but I know it's just going to be really close, and the fans are in for a treat this year for sure.
Oh, it's going to be tight. It's going to be incredibly tight between the over half dozen youngsters that are running for this Rookie of the Year crown. Tell me a little bit about how you're going to need to adjust in terms of feedback and what you're giving your team from driving a mini stock to driving a super stock. Because a mini stock, I guess there are a lot of stock elements to those cars. They respond a little bit differently than a race car does. These super stocks, they're fully like they're race cars now. I mean, it's not the days of banging the windows out of an old Monty and putting a cage in it and sending it out there. That's over. I mean, just to understand how to set these cars up and the geometry of them is so much different than a mini stock. How are you going to need to adjust to give your team the very best data?
Well, I'm going to have to go through a very, very large learning curve in order to adjust to this car. Like you said, mini stocks and super stocks, they don't seem too different just by looking at them. But when you get down to the logistics of things, they're like one's a race car and one's, not a race car, So, you have way more adjustments on a super stock. That's something I have to learn, It's not just all about air pressure and, putting more bar on a car. You have way more selections to go to on a super stock and learning what those are going to do. But like I said, I have some good guys on my side to help me through that process. And not only that, like it's going to be learning, your the surroundings all over again. You got to learn how to, race with another field of guys. You got used to racing in mini stocks with, Warren and Andy Camrath. You learn how to race with those people. And now scratch all of that, and now you have to go learn to race with a bunch of other really talented racers. So there's going to be a pile of different learning curves. So I'm always up for a challenge. I'm looking forward to it. No doubt in my mind we won't be up there because, like I said,
oh, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's so much talent at the top that it's crowded. It's crowded at the top of this division to try to sort of elbow your way in and find your place. And that sort of leads right into my next question. Is there going to be a bit of an ego check for you because you're used to sort of having the team that was well established. You guys had won a championship. You'd won some crown jewel races, and you really knew what you were doing, and you commanded that respect on the racetrack. Other guys maybe gave you a little bit of extra room because they knew that, that 64 car, he knows how to handle himself. He knows what he's doing. He's probably going to the front. Now all of a sudden you're in the super stock division. You're racing against guys some of these guys have been doing it for as long as you've been alive. They don't know anything about you or your style. They're not going to give you an inch. Is it going to be a big sort of adjustment for you to sort of go all the way down to the bottom rung on the totem pole this year?
Absolutely. I mean, it's going to be another learning curve is you got to realize that none of these guys have raced with you before, and so you got to earn your respect. It's all about wherever you move up to in life, you got to earn your respect and slowly, earn your spot in the division, and then till the guys realize that you're there for all the same reasons they are, and you're not there to do them dirty or anything. You're there to do the same thing they are: race people clean, have fun, and just give people respect. And I've never been one to really carry a big ego around and really flaunt it. Like I've been a pretty level-headed type of guy, and that's not going to change. And whatever happens, whatever plays out this year plays out, and it's all going to be the same in the end.
Now, Steve Perry gave you an awesome opportunity last year to run a Thunder stock at Oshweekend on a full-time basis, and I'm wondering if that's sort of going to help your learning curve in 2016, because you had a full year sort of dealing with all that weight and how that car responds. Are you going to be able to dwell on a lot of that experience to help you this year with your Rookie of the Year campaign?
Absolutely. Dirt racing teaches you so much about a race car. Going into last season, preparing for my first year on dirt, everyone told me, you're going to come out a better race car driver at the end of this year. And I really did, honestly. I didn't think I was going to learn that much, but every time you I hit the track on a Friday night, you learn something new about car control and whatnot. And so I think I can use a little bit of that transferring over to the super stock on asphalt, about the size of the car and the weight of the car and whatnot. So yes, I think I'm going to use a lot of points that I used in a Thunderstock at Oswego. I think that was a really good call on my part, doing that deal last year with Steve, taking that and learning what I did, because like I said, it only makes you a better race car driver in the end. And I've told everybody I talk to, if you ever get a chance to race a dirt car, take it, because just the knowledge you take in a year is unbelievable.
Moving up a division, sort of jumping into the shark tank that is the super stock class, it's a pretty big undertaking. So who's going to be quarterbacking things for you on Saturday afternoon? Who's running who's playing the role of crew chief this year for Brandon McFerran?
Bev Thring's going to be back on board with us this year. He's building the car, and so he knows these cars better than anyone else, these Leaf Spring Camaro Clip cars. So he's going to be back in our corner, calling the shots. So I'm looking forward to that. But I still have a lot of good people on our side that's going to be with us every Saturday night. So like I said, you can't really be going to the track not knowing anything about these cars. So Bev knows his stuff, and I'm really excited to be back working with him. Like I said, we worked with him a lot when we first built the mini stock and whatnot, and learned a lot. So I'm looking forward to what I can learn with him this year.
Let's talk about the mini stock division, because I want to know your train of thought here, what you're expecting, because it's exactly like when you get a really good OHL team and they're all draft eligible and they all get drafted and all these guys age out, and so Brandon McFerran and Jordan House and Semiraro, Trayton Lapsovich, Kendra Adams, whoever else I'm forgetting, that they're all moving on. They're all leaving the division. So this now leaves the mini stocks wide open. I have no idea who's going to win the mini stock season opener. You got to think that Warren Paxton, whenever he shows up, I don't know if it's going to be a full-time schedule, but whenever he shows up, he's going to be fast. Andy Kamrat's going to be in the mix, and I think Garrett Tiemersma is on his way to a breakout season. But after that, I really don't know who else is going to be in the mix. I think this is going to sort of level the playing field a little bit in a way that we haven't seen in a long time in the mini stock division. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, I haven't heard much about the mini stock division this off season. Usually there's a lot of hype going up about the mini stock on and off season, and I really haven't heard that much about, who's coming back to Sunset and whatnot. But I do know the cars that are going to be an obvious that are going to be there. Like you said, you got Kamrat, Paxton, Tiemersma.
I think Cameron McGlashan should probably be ready to contend for a couple of feature wins this year as well, moving up from the Mighty division.
Yeah, absolutely. He is a real good contender in the Mighty division last year. I wouldn't put it past him to maybe win a few races this year. So I would like to see Terry Woodley win opening night. That'd be pretty cool. He ran second to me at Velocity, and I think he was actually kind of wheeling me in there during the race, and he had a quick car, and his car was getting faster and faster every time it hit the track last year, and it really showed at Velocity. So it'd be kind of cool, honestly, to see him win a few races this year. But
I think that would be a popular one with the fans as well. I think the fans and the boys in the pits would both love that, because Terry Woodley in victory lane at the Velocity after he finished second with the dart hanging out of his mouth, just kind of leaned back on his car, telling me all about how good it was that afternoon. That was a big moment. That was one of my personal favorite interviews from all of 2015. And I think that he's one of those dudes where he just sort of works on it all by himself. He's kind of like that one-man gang over at the edge of the mini stock pit, and he's gotten better every single time we've seen him unload at Sunset.
Absolutely. I mean, Terry's such a likable guy. He always walks by our car and, stops and see how's everything's going. And, and a guy like that gains so much respect in the pits. And leading up to my point is when he does get his first feature win, and I guarantee it will come this year, I guarantee there's going to be one heck of a party at his pit because, like you said at Velocity, there is a lot of people cheering for him at the end of that interview because a guy like that, kind of a one-man team, do-it-for-himself type of dude, to win like that is something special, and the fans and the guys in the pits see that stuff, and I can guarantee there's going to be one hell of a party in the pits when he wins his first feature win.
It's someone that you can get behind without question. So, all right, I'm going to put you on the spot then. Who's going to win the championship this year in the mini stock division? What do you think? Because I don't know. I don't think that Camras and Paxton are going full time this year, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, you never know with those guys. I find with Warren and Andy, it's all about how opening night or something goes, and then that kind of judges the rest of the season for them.
Well, they'll show up if they're having fun. You're absolutely right. I mean, when it stops being fun, they step back and they reevaluate, and they'll go to the cottage or go have fun somewhere else. I know that Camrat's doing his APC deal. I don't know if that'll cause him to miss a points night or not. So let's just for the fun of the conversation, let's take those two cars out because that both of them are gonna win at least one feature this year. So take them out. So let's look at the crop of guys that maybe we've been overlooking for the last couple of years. Out of the best of the rest, who do you think is the championship contender this year?
I would have to say the 17 car, Garrett. He's a real consistent front runner. Always has that team always has their stuff together, come to the track on loading, and it'd be really cool to see him win the championship, and he has a better shot at it than anyone.
And he's a kid that's easy on equipment. And you know when you're racing for a championship, if you're putting the car back together again Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you're not getting any faster. When you're fixing the car to get it ready to go to the racetrack, you're not picking up any speed whatsoever. That's a kid that can go easy on his car and sort of spend his week improving as opposed to, hammering dents out and straightening suspension components.
Absolutely. I racing with him the past few years. I've learned that he's a real smooth operator, real smooth on the wheel, and like you said, he doesn't beat his equipment up whatsoever, and that's what it takes to win a championship is keeping your nose clean and staying out all that garbage, and that's exactly what that kid does. He keeps his nose clean, stays out of the mess, and just picks cars off one by one by every lap, and he always seems to find his way to the front at the end of the race. He's always up on the scoreboard, so I really think he has what it takes to win a championship.
I know that you and Jordan House are phenomenal friends off of the track. You get to race against one another for the rookie crown this year. Has a bet been laid down yet? Any sort of wager between you guys or the two teams to see who can get to the podium first?
No, not really. There hasn't been much talk about it, but going off from what we ran in the mini stock, we're not. Like you said, we're real good friends on the off the track, but like anybody else on the track, it's all about business, and we've roughed each other up on the track to get a spot or a position or two and whatnot. But it's going to be a real good race. I'm looking forward to racing Jordan in a super stock, and but as far as a bet goes, we haven't really made one, so maybe I'll have to make one with him. See what we can do. Make a bet, see who's going to get to the podium first.
There you go. Well, I know that a season like this, it's a big undertaking, like we mentioned, and building a car from the ground up is a huge investment. It doesn't happen without the marketing partners. Go ahead and show them a little bit of love for making 2016 a reality for you.
Absolutely. I mean, I got to thank. There's so many people, especially this off season. Like I'm going to start with everyone that help me get to the car where it's at now. Like you got Steve Laking, Bev Thring, Bob Coyne, my dad, Of course, can't forget my mom. She's always there supporting. And the sponsors, you got Peter D. Laird, Miser Construction, Road Ranger. There's so many, I got a few new ones this year. Got Brandon's Landscape, Sauble Falls, AMD Electric. Just I can't thank everyone enough on every one of my sponsors for helping me out and getting me to where I am right now.
Brandon, I'm looking forward to opening night, my man. I hope that you're there. And even if you miss opening night, I'm looking forward to seeing, what this car is going to look like, because I'm sure it's going to be the Mona Lisa Super Stocks with Laking and Bev working side by side. And I'm looking forward to seeing how you can acclimate yourself to this division, because it's, I'm telling you, man, I'm sure you already know, but sort of going to war with these Super Stock guys, it's like rolling around in a box of glass, man. It's not going to get any easier from week to week.
Absolutely not. I mean, I went to war with those guys twice last year in Caden Lapsevich' Super Stock, and you really got to put on the big boy pants and show them that you can run up there, but you have respect for them, and you're out there to do the same thing they are. And like you said, it's a shark tank of a division. No one gives you an inch, but that's what makes for good racing. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, I honestly can't wait for whenever it is that we get out. I'm excited to get it out there and show off the car.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time, man. I know you're super busy getting this thing prepped and ready to go. So thanks so much for taking the time to chat with me, and all the best in 2016.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
There you have, folks, the Astronaut, Brandon McFerran, getting ready for the 2016 Superstock season.
See you, bye.